Howdy y'all, welcome to my May plan with me. So I believe in May 2020 I did a lavender inspired theme, and in July of 2021 I did a lavender and bees theme, and so this year in May 2022 I'm going to be not recreating but taking inspiration from those themes and creating another May plan with me. So without further ado, let's get journaling. So the first thing I did was I wrote May in some fancy calligraphy letters, and I have to admit I wasn't feeling super creative when it came to the fonts this month, so you'll just kind of have to bear with me. But overall, I just really wanted to go for a very simple, loose, sketchy sort of theme that didn't require too much thinking or sketching out. My last two themes have been really drawing intensive, but this one is a lot more flowy and you just kind of dab wherever your heart desires, and it turns out looking good, which in my book is a definite bonus. So I had 3 colors of greens, and then each color of green had a corresponding purpley blue, and then from there I went and added a secondary color and then a third color just to kind of give them a little bit more of a feeling. And even though this cover page is super simple, I really love the way it turned out. I do think it could have been arranged a little bit differently, but overall I really love the effect. I wrote 2022 just to kind of fill the void and kind of bring it up a little bit more, and then I just added these little circles just to kind of space out the not the even, but the blank space. And then next I started working on the calendar spread, and I keep promising myself that it's going to be a quote spread, but that has not happened yet. So just be awaiting the day, patiently be awaiting the day that I actually do make a quote spread. But I was inspired by the calendar that I did for my January plan with me, which is where each box is just 4 it's just 4 boxes, so 2 on each side. I'm really bad at explaining this. Anyway, you can kind of see what's going on there. And luckily May starts on a Sunday, which means that the box of the calendar just look so nice and clean. And I don't know, I just love it when it starts on the first day of the month, because then I can actually keep track of the day of the week in my head corresponding to what day of the month it is. It's just a beautiful thing. So using a zebra mud liner, I outlined the calendar in, I believe it's a smoky blue or dark blue, I'm not sure which one it is, but one of those darker colors. And overall it's just kind of nice, and pretty much the only personality that you're gonna get is kind of that like spunky chunkiness. And then I just drew another one of these flowers. I don't know if they really look like lavender, they could be some other sort of flower. It's just on the tip of my tongue, I can't remember it off the top of my head. But either way, I still think the design is really pretty and can be easily adapted to all sorts of different types. For example, if you wanted to do this with tulips or daffodils, it would be super easy to adapt. So for each of the calendar days of the week, the words help, I wrote down each day of the month in the boxes, and then I drew a this month page, and then this little spot where I can keep track of my goals. Then I added a few more little circles, and we are on to the next spread, which was a habit tracker. And I sort of messed this up. I like how the title turned out, and I knew that May had 31 days, and so I started from the bottom up and I sort of arranged the colors and I knew how many I needed to do, and the way I didn't go in with a pencil, I was trying to not use a pencil hardly at all during this setup, and oof, that came back and bit me. So I made each of the columns 8 instead of 7, and so I ended up having to go back and fix the first column with just a white Sakura jelly roll. And towards the end I was like, this is way taller than it should be. What did I do wrong? I went back and yup, I counted 1 too many squares for each week, so that was like 4 extra squares. So that was not fun to figure out. So you can see me just like triple counting it and being like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. But I fixed it in the next spot, and then what do you know, in just a second my camera is going to fill up with storage and you will not get to see me complete the rest of it. Oops. I really have to go. Something always goes wrong with my filming. It's either my tripod breaks, my camera dies, my head blocks what's going on screen. Anyway, I just can't win. But yes, so I just used each of the colors to make different trackers. I believe I had 13 habits that I wanted to track this month. I think last month it was 12, and it just ended up fitting differently on the page, and so I just kind of rolled with that. But overall, I think it looks quite nice, and you know what? My camera's surviving for long enough for you to really get the point of what's going on here. I'm going to be the first one to admit that this is not very fascinating to watch. You kind of get the point after the first 1 or 2 columns, and so I'm just going to talk about this lavender plant that I had as a kid. They gave away free lavenders at school, and so I named mine Bonnie, and that plant thrived in our front yard for like 5 years. And we bought another one and I named it Victoria, and Victoria did not thrive. Victoria died very quickly. And yes, that's my experience with lavender. But anyway, long story short, several years later, both of the plants kind of faded away and they're gone now, but I still think of them fondly. So now you can see me going back and kind of fixing my mistake with the counting. I promise y'all I can count. It doesn't look like it from my videos, but I promise I can count. I promise I'm halfway decent at that. Anyway, and then from there, after I kind of went over that and fixed it, it doesn't really look that good, but there's where my camera died, and it's gonna die again in just 1 second. There we go. Anyway, I just filled out my habits and then I started working on my exercise sets. So how I do this is I just kind of do as many sets as I feel comfortable with and just try to do at least 1 a day. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. To be honest, usually it's just the 1, but a little bit is definitely better than nothing. I added a flower, and then to fill the rest of the space, I just added a brain dump. And this month, I decided to show you the first weekly that I did, and so that's kind of exciting. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. I didn't really put too much thought into it. I just did some colors, some circles, and some cursive, and that was pretty much it. I wonder how many times I say in my videos. I should really start having just like an counter, except that would be a lot of work, so we're not gonna do that. But who knows, maybe someone will just start counting all the times that I say that. Anyway, camera died a 3rd time, so there's what that one looks like, and here's the full overview. So I really love the cover page most of all, I think, and then just overall it's really calm vibes, which is probably what I need for May, you know, with all my classes wrapping up and end of year finals and tests and all of that. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll stick around, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!